District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler of Penfield Town Court doesn't know what century she lives in. My name is Chris Chachester. I've never committed a crime. This is the payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. This is the payroll for the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Demanding to know if you employ minors. Demanding to know if you employ minors that are related to the employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Demanding to know if you employ minors that are related to the employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I'm going to detail why and explain why. There is a link to this YouTube that I had sent to this disgusting, vile hack, Paula Metzler on Penfield Town Court. It's called Invasion of Privacy, Paula Metzler on Penfield Town Court, which I just looked at it to make sure the title was correct. This Paula Metzler had access to my health records. Isn't that right, Paula? Because you were asking me about my health in Penfield Town Court. Madam District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter, please suspend the operations of this revolting star chamber with Paula Metzler and James Mully Jr. because of what I said in that YouTube called Invasion of Privacy. This disgusting, repulsive criminal, Paula Metzler, had access to my health records. And I'm not going to detail the specific question she asked me because I'm not going to invade my own privacy. Because I have Paula Metzler that can invade my privacy. Isn't that right, Paula? Paula, how did you have access to my health records? Because of the question you asked me in Penfield Town Court. Why did you ask me that question, Paula? You know the question you asked me. I'm going to tell the State Department of Health in Albany, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, that you broke the law in accessing my health care records. I'm going to tell the Federal Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., that you broke federal law by accessing my health care records. Because you know something only my mother and father know, and my ex-girlfriend. When I use words to describe you, Paula Metzler, as a disgusting, vile, sick human being, this is why. And when I use words like fanatic, degenerate, sociopath to describe you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley and Sheriff Todd Baxter, those words apply to Paula Metzler as well. But what I'm concerned about right now is if you employ minors at the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office, a minor. Do I have to explain what a minor is? It's a child, a human being that has not reached the age of 18 to vote. The reason why I asked that question is because the last page of the payroll that I had demanded 50 times. It's the payroll with $0 Michael Radler on it. I've read those names before, but this is specifically devoted to the minors. On the payroll of the District Attorney's Office, I cannot tell from the salaries if there are a collection of minors employed by you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, because these appear to be the salaries of individuals that either work a full-time job or what is a part-time job. I consider a part-time job $30,000 or less. And that's understandable to have part-time employees. Full-time, part-time in the District Attorney's Office, where you have on his payroll approximately 150 people, if I have that right. There's no one on here where you can look at it and say, that's an $11,000 employee. He's not a minor. And if that person has the same last name as another individual on the payroll, then that's nepotism. Camille Miller is on his payroll, and Todd Baxter employs Kathleen Miller and Andrew Miller. Kathleen Miller is Camille Miller, your daughter. What's the answer? And you're thinking I need to be arrested just for asking you that question. Are these minors, and do you employ minors, Todd Baxter, and you employ minors related to Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? I'm waiting for you, Todd, the fascist stooge, for your animals to get here and certify that they are animals by pounding on the side of the residence, screaming my name outside, pounding on the front door, screaming on my name at the front door, pounding on the side of the residence. Do you see that YouTube I call hatred? Because I don't know who watches this. Because everything I do is to send to the Department of Justice, The office of Governor Andrew Cuomo, the majority leader and speaker in the state legislature, Monroe County legislature, Democrat and Chronicle. I'm not talking to you even though I use your names. But since I use your names, I'm telling you what I'm doing. And what I'm doing, Todd Baxter, is attempting to remove you from office. And what I'm doing, Sandra Doorley, is attempting to remove you from office. And I, in all likelihood, won't be able to achieve it, but I'm certainly going to try. There's no motivation like an innocence. So, here we have on the last page, I've read these previously. Are these minors, Todd Baxter, and are these minors related to Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? And they can be related without having the same last name, such as William M. Dunbar, $12,244. William M. Dunbar, minor, and is William M. Dunbar related to a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee? Eric J. Lorenz, $12,244. Brianna Elvin, $11,856. Rachel June Scott, $11,856. Madison Ball, $11,856. Joshua M. Priestalco, $12,244. Odd A. Alman Soup, $12,244. Amber M. Cripps, $12,244. Camille M. Miller, $11,544. Kathleen Miller. Is Camille M. Miller related to you and Andrew Miller? Camille M. Miller is related to you, Kathleen Miller, and Andrew. And if Andrew Miller is your husband, then that's nepotism. Because there's no way that Camille Ann Miller is at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for $11,544. She's not related to you. Bradley D. Finn, $11,544. Thomas M. Evangelista, $12,244. Felicia R. McLaren, $12,244. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 individuals that are paid less than $15,000. That's not a full-time employee, all these minors. When I contact the New York State Controller and demand that you be audited, Sheriff Todd Baxter is going to be the first thing I write about. Because I believe that these are minors, and I believe that these are minors that are employed because they're related to employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. When I worked for the majority leader in Albany, beginning in 1990, when I was only 25 years old, that's when I first became familiar with nepotism, how it functions. Because one of my co-workers in working for Senate Majority Ralph Marino, and this staff was big, about 300 people, he spent an enormous amount of time trying to find employment for the friends and relatives of his friends. He would have a buddy. For example, his buddy would be John Doe. And then he would say to his buddy, John Doe, does anybody in your family need a job? And I'll do my best to help him out. And he would be astonishingly successful at doing this. And he would laugh. And he would have a list of people that he helped to be employed. And then, of course, they would owe him favors. And that's the way the world works in politics. So anyway, I'm not telling you this for narcissism, because I've seen how nepotism operates in the Capitol in Albany as I worked in that building for 7 years. And it's a disgusting fact of life in every capital, not just Albany. So the reason why I tell you that is because of this last page. How do you answer that, Todd Baxter? If I came, because I'm going to be coming to your public events, as a man who's never committed a crime, and I know you think right now we need to arrest him, we need to send on his house. I will never come to Penfield Town Court, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler. Fuck you, Paula Metzler. I will never appear there. I don't care about the concoction of other charges. She's been cocked in crimes for me for 18 months. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court, Paula Metzler. What you're doing is you're sitting there in your little library courtroom. You as one person deciding I should go to jail and I should come in there and allow you and your masochism, your hatred to descend upon me. And I'm not going to do that. I will never appear in Penfield Town Court. They'll have to physically attack and assault me and bring me in there. You better be absolutely clear about what I'm telling you. A corrupt town judge doesn't summon an innocent man to appear in front of her and declare that person guilty, and that person goes to jail. And you know what I've never heard, Todd Baxter? I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona. Are you familiar with that Supreme Court decision, Sheriff Baxter? Miranda versus Arizona? Why have I never heard Miranda versus Arizona? Sheriff Todd Baxter. I'm looking for the Supreme Court decision. I was going to show it. And it's right here. Why have I never heard Miranda? How is that explained? This has been the law in the United States of America since 1966. You descended on me with your concoctions. First, I was in Monroe County Jail. Next, I was in Livingston County Jail without the prosecutor talking. Tell me the name of those prosecutors, Sandra Doorley. How am I delivered to jail as an innocent man when the prosecutor doesn't talk? Certification, I'm an innocent man. Prosecutor doesn't talk. Party switching, Sandra Doorley. I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona. How's that explained, Todd? How does your bald head, your Mussolini bald head, explain I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona, Todd? You need to ask your mentor here, Todd, as to why I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona. And I don't get this little square mustache she's got going on here, this greaseball haircut. I'm not getting that, Todd. With your mentor here. Let me reach over here because here's this guy, John P. Lomenzo Jr., demanding a list of his cases, and he refuses to open his mail. So, an unconstitutional search warrant said this. Paula Metzler, I will tell the United States Department of Justice that this is an unconstitutional search warrant. Honorable Paul C. Metzler, proof by affidavit, for example. Where's the proof by affidavit? This gets Lee LaRoque in here, and you went berserk. $91,000 Lee LaRoque. How was the process for you, Lee LaRoque, getting into my residence? How did that work? I will tell the United States Department of Justice that you, Paula Metzler, typed this search warrant, that's not a search warrant, in your library courtroom. Then you had contact with Lee LaRoque. She was given this document by you. Lee LaRoque contacted my landlord, Giuseppe Nino Spano. They were petrified and let you, Lee LaRoque, in, and you lost your mind in here. And you found nothing. You took my Chromebook. Why did you take my Chromebook? Because you're reading my emails and you're looking at the search history on the Chromebooks. You're trying to concoct a crime for me. I take my Chromebook. How do you look at the Chromebook, Lee LaRoque, and say to yourself, I'm going to take that because of this document? That is not a search warrant. Do you understand me, Paula Metzler? This is not a search warrant. This is unconstitutional. You handed it to Lee LaRoque, and this $91,000 a year criminal lost her mind in my residence. And Leah, you left your blue gloves behind. So Leah, you got a real problem there at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Leah, because here you are. This is in your glory days. This is when you were much younger. And Leah, you need to stay away from 15-year-old boys, okay? Because that's going to be behavior that's going to get you in trouble with law enforcement, our real law enforcement that pursues real criminals. So, that's really bad for you there, Leah. And here's District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and I must say, Madam District Attorney, you look quite fetching here down there in your office there. And how's your dating life going there, honey? Because who the hell would want to be with you? So, anyway. County Monroe, why do I have this check, Todd Baxter, for $61.39? I go to County Dago National Bank, had $21.39 in my pocket. I withdrew 40, walk back down Penfield Road, make a right on Sanders Farm Drive, make a left on Willow Pond Way. As I'm walking to Wegmans, I see your employees passing me on Penfield Road. I get to the pharmacy entrance. 5 of your vehicles, 11 of your employees converged upon me. One of them ran up behind me, lowered his shoulder, jammed his shoulder into my back. My head slammed against the concrete pavement. Your employee, Sheriff Todd Baxter, violently attacked and assaulted me. And what's his name? The blue wall of Todd Baxter will prevent you from disclosing his name. Are they going to be here? Is the blue wall of Todd Baxter going to be banging on the side of the residence, banging on the front of the residence, banging on the front door? Did you see that YouTube called Hatred? Todd, did you see what your employees did? What are their names? I'm going to demand from you, with 1,000+ words of names. You know their names. It's not every day that you have at least, I'm going to guess, 5 people outside a residence and they're screaming the name of an innocent citizen and pounding on the residence. You know exactly who I'm talking about, Todd. What are their names? Was it you, Don Benedetto? Is that you? You've been here repeatedly hiding in the bushes. Isn't that right, Don? Were you Don Benedetto? Was that you screaming my name, losing your mind outside my residence? So, $61.39. That's a certification that your employee attacked me. What's his name? Lowered his shoulder, drove his shoulder and small of my back. My head bounced off the concrete pavement. I had to go to get an MRI. Rochester Regional Health. That's the proof right there. Your employee attacked me. What's his name? Pray like Tupac, Todd, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it when I contact the United States Department of Justice. Pray like Tupac, Sandra, because you're going to need it when I contact the United States Department of Justice. And what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice is that you're consumed by fanaticism. Here's my little guy. I've showed this repeatedly, but since I mentioned fanaticism, this is the one that enrages me the most. You own a dog to Monroe County Sheriff's Office? You own a dog to Monroe County District Attorney's Office? You employees own dogs? Millions of people own dogs. I would gather 75% of you own dogs. What would you think if the Monroe County Sheriff's Office showed up at your residence, demanding your dog, and all you're doing is walking your dog the same way for 7 years and 4,000 times? This is the hatred you're with, this Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah. These people that you've unleashed upon me are calling you to come and seize my dog and saying to you, Todd the fascist stooge, that you should come and seize my little guy. He was with me for 8 years. And the reason why I was able to adopt him, allow him to perform humane society, I passed the background check. Do you not know, Todd Baxter, that people love their dogs? People love their dogs with everything they have. Why do you think people let their dogs sleep in the same bed with them? Because they love their dogs. That's why. And your dog has love in his heart. He would jump up on the bed at night. And I knew it was 3 o'clock in the morning because my ex-girlfriend, Laura, would say, get down. And we would laugh. Here he is on the bed again. Your dog does 500,000 things that brings joy to your life. And here you are, demanding my little guy. What are their names? You want to be telling me their names. When I'm demanding information from you, like, it's not every day that 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees go to the home of an innocent man and demand his dog. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You only have 170 employees because they had to go back to your Jonestown and say, we went to this guy's house and we demanded his dog. It was a vicious confrontation. He wouldn't give us his dog. All I have to do is call the animal control guy with a 10-foot pole in his hand, and he's going to remember that confrontation. I guarantee he'll remember that confrontation. He's going to remember your 2 employees. So I'm going to demonstrate again why you're a criminal. You demand information from someone, you better receive that information. You better acquire that information. I'm demanding information from you, and it's a total refusal. What are the names of your 2 employees that showed up on my front lawn to demand my little guy? You are a sick, vile, disgusting, pathetic, bankrupt hack to be showing up to my residence to demand my little guy. Do you know there's something called a telephone? You employees can pick up the phone. We heard you walking your dog. Let's talk about that because we got a complaint from Neeraj Shah and Layla Kumar Shah. That's not what you do, but you want to come here and exercise power over me. Fanatic, degenerate, sociopath, criminal, party-switching, bald-headed Todd Baxter. They're calling the sheriff on me, these parasites. Refuse. Layla Kumar Shah, refuse. Refuse. Layla Kumar Shah, refuse. Shannon Meyer, pay attention. Layla Kumar Shah, refused. Shannon Meyer, pay attention. Neeraj Shah, refused. Shannon Meyer, pay attention. Neeraj Shah, refused. Shannon Meyer, pay attention. Neeraj Shah, refused. Why do you think there's refused, Shannon? Fire Shannon Meyer. Writing a warrant for my arrest for walking through a parking lot. Shannon Meyer is a train wreck, Todd Baxter. Fire her immediately. Provide her a hearing. I'll come to it. I'll come to any hearing. Fire Andrew Yalley. Charge me with harassment second. I'm sitting in the backseat of your vehicle. Elliot Ross says to me, you're going to be arrested. Elliot, who told you I was going to be arrested? Was it Shannon Meyer? Elliot Ross, who told you I was going to be arrested? Was it Shannon Meyer? This is the guy. You use Steve Desmond. This is the guy that Shannon Meyer told you, Todd Baxter, to call to my residence. He doesn't want to open this because he's the guy you using a civilian to come to my residence. How do you explain to the United States Department of Justice that this weed-whacking, grass-cutting loser was used by you and Shannon Meyer to come to my residence to concoct criminal contempt for me when that's not a crime? Michael Radler, here you are. You hurt my feelings with RTS. Does that mean return to sender? Do you need some money again, you $0 employee? If you need me to co-sign a loan for you, Michael, with your $0, because the other day I held up a 20. You know, I said I'd slip it under the door if you were one of the ones coming in to pound on the side of the residence, pound on the front door. You need some money, let me know. Afraid to open your mail. I'm demanding the payroll for this Michael Rather 50 plus times over and over. Every time you refuse. Because that payroll, you knew Michael Rather was going to show $0 for Michael Rather. John P. Lomenzo Jr., the pedophile protection racket for Daniel DeLouse III Jr. You copied. Afraid to open your mail. You allowed Daniel DeLouse III to be released, and there are real crimes in Monroe County, and this is a real criminal. It's a child rapist who was observed by witness on Annatel Luster, which is off of 5 Mile Line Road, and I know where that is because I ride my bike by there. It's a real rapist. It's a real crime. This guy, Daniel DeLouse III, appears before 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr., and he doesn't disclose that he has a relationship with the family, and he knows the family. He knows Daniel DeLouse II. You, Junior, know Daniel DeLouse II. And you let this guy go, accused child rapist, pardon me, and he was subsequently rearrested for trying to do the same thing. So this guy is delivering me to jail without asking me any questions as an innocent man, and possibly a real criminal child rapist walks right out the door. Suspend the operations for Penfield Town Court immediately. If you can do that at the district attorney's office, and you can do that by redirecting defendants away from Paula C. Metzler and James C. Melly Jr. You can do that. You can't suspend the operations by just declaring it is no longer in existence as far as people appearing in there, where it's abolished. You can't do that, I believe, under state constitution. You can redirect defendants away from this court with these two criminals, Paula Metzler and James C. Melly Jr. You can do that, Sandra Doorley. Do it. Todd, how's your feet? Are your feet doing all right? The employees have foot in the game? Because, you talk like a freak show. And I read this interview that you gave, with the Democrat and Chronicle here, Mr. Foot in the Game. This is right after you took office, I believe, at your Jonestown, or right before, on January 2nd, 2018. And here you are, Todd, with your bald head right there. That was the photograph there in the story. So, what I'd like to know, Todd, is how's your feet, and how's the foot in the game as far as the employees at the district attorney's office? You had this big staff meeting. You asked this question here. Here's the question, Mr. Foot in the Game. Oh, it's blotted out. But you said we had a staff meeting my first day here with 13 people sitting around the table from the sheriff's office, 5 different bureaus, and I charge each one of them to have some kind of foot in the game. Foot in the game? Todd, would you like to borrow my foot cream? Anybody there? Any of you went to Jonestown? That's the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Michael Radler, $0 employee. Do you need some foot cream to have some foot in the game? Don Benedetto, $85,000 a year hiding in the bushes. Do you need some foot in the game? You need some foot cream for your foot in the game? Andrew Reale, charging me with harassment second, not harassing anyone. I'm sitting in the back seat of his vehicle. Andrew, you got $79,000. You can buy some foot cream here because Todd Baxter wants you to have foot in the game. You talk like a freak show, Todd Baxter. You really do. And you're talking about the Court Bureau. Think about just the Court Bureau. Quote, think about just the Court Bureau. Obviously, a lot of people coming into court are either family members or suffering from addiction. Just having a drop-in center right in court where family could go right next door to the courtroom, and there'd be a beautiful nonprofit right there that can help the family as they negotiate through the process of recovery. A beautiful nonprofit? Is that right? It's such a joke. You are such a joke. You don't even know you're a joke. So, now, Sandra, I cannot tell if you're paying minors, so I'll just ask you. Do you pay minors? And I'm going to write a Freedom of Information law demanding you answer yes or no. Because it does not appear from the payroll that you employ minors. But you have Richard Ignizio at $14,221. And Clara Harrell at $14,363. Is Clara Howell at $14,363 a minor? I don't know. Is Richard Ignizio at $14,221 a minor? I don't know. Is Lori Mastrocolo at $17,746 a minor? I don't know. But I'm confident that these are minors right here. But Todd Baxter, answer the question. Do you employ minors, Todd Baxter? Do you employ minors, Sandra Doorley? Do you employ minors, Todd Baxter, related to Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees? Do you employ minors that are related to Monroe County District Attorney employees? What's the answer to that question? And what's the answer to why I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona? Think I'm going to go into Penfield Town Court when I've never heard Miranda versus Arizona? They put the handcuffs on me when I came outside. 30 seconds to tell a guy in his tractor that nobody owns the land next to my residence. And you took me to your Jonestown downtown. And you handcuffed me inside the bathroom. And I urinated on myself. I urinated on myself inside the bathroom, Todd. What do you think about that? Is that your policy, to put an innocent man inside a bathroom where he urinates on himself? Because that's what an American Psycho does. And you're an American Psycho, Todd. So, now, why have I never heard Miranda? Paula Metz was attached again. They ain't charged a sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Lomenzo, James P. Only Jr. Paula Metz got there December 16th. So, in the YouTube that's attached, I called it invasion of privacy. Because I'm in there in this star chamber at Penfield Town Court, and Paula Metzler is asking me a question about my health. And she's asking me this question because she obviously has had access to my healthcare records. There's no reason for a judge anywhere in the United States of America to ask a defendant about health. Because it has nothing to do with a criminal or civil charge or complaint for that person. And yet here she is asking me about my health. Isn't that right, Paula? Paula, do you know Congress has passed the Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act, if I have the name of it right? You broke the law, Paula Metzer. I'm telling you that you broke the law. Because there you are with access to my healthcare records. You look down, you have a piece of paper in front of you. The only reason why you have that piece of paper in front of you is the language written on it is from my healthcare records, my health records, if that's the right term. How is that explained to the State Department of Health in Albany, Paula Metzer? How is that explained to the Federal Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C.? And I know where both of those agencies are because I worked in Albany and I worked in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. And I've ridden my bike by both of them because I've been riding my bike for years and I've ridden my bike right by your little district attorney's office. That's why I called it Dairy Queen. I've ridden my bike right by you, Jonestown Todd Baxter, and I have to prevent myself from getting physically sick. So, we received this on January 7th. Internal disciplinary records of documentation of employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. The Sheriff Todd Baxter has reprimanded, terminated discipline in employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, that District Attorney Sandra Doorley is disciplined, reprimanded, terminated from employment at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, January 7th. You got it. Where is it? Send it to me. Send me the latest payroll. And you're refusing. I've attached all these. I'm just going to attach 5. What I just read to you, you received on January 7th, January 5th, January 3rd, January 4th, and December 30th. 16. Right here. That's 80 Freedom of Information Law documents I'm holding in my hand. You're going to be 0 for 80. Your contempt for the law is, here's 80 Freedom of Information Law documents. Where I'm demanding the latest payroll. I'm demanding if you use taxpayer hours to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits. I'm demanding the day and year Michael Radler was hired. I'm demanding how much money you spent to send Ryan Fisher to Atlanta, Georgia. I've been demanding the name of your prosecutor, Sandra. He doesn't talk first before John P. Lomenzo and next before Paula Metzler. Over and over and over, I'm demanding information and you're refusing. These were all attached. These 5 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to be receiving them again in the next 48 hours, 72 hours. At least one time, perhaps twice. Because I'm trying to remove you from office. That's why. And one of the ways to remove you from office is to demonstrate that you have absolute and total contempt for the law, which you here have. 70 or 70 plus documents to the Freedom of Information and refuse to comply with every one. So, how's your feet, Todd? You still got that foot in the game? You need some foot cream? Do you have foot in the game there? Get that foot in the game, Michael Radler, for $0. So, now, you received Sheriff Baxter from me. And this is how. I walked outside. Tell me how this is a crime. I said this repeatedly. How is this criminal attempt? The guy in his track from Broncola Tree Long. I walk outside, stand around here, say nobody owns that land, and walk back in my house. How's that a crime? I was in jail for that. This is why I'll never go into Penfield Town Court. Just to be declared guilty. How is that possibly a crime? Ask Shannon Meyer how that's a crime. Shannon Meyer uses a civilian named Steve Desmond, Broncola Tree Long to get to my residence. How is that a crime? Party switching, bald-headed criminal Todd Baxter to walk out here, stand here, and say nobody owns that land and walk back in my house. How's that a crime? That's not a crime, Todd Baxter. And what I did is she writes this disgusting, vile, sick document after these parasites, Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah, came to her office, called CR number 18-0515. And you see this repeatedly. I took every sentence. Here's the sentence, and then I responded to it. Here's the sentence, and I responded to it. That one sentence has 3 paragraphs for me. That one sentence has 4 paragraphs for me, including calling these two a V for victim. How is somebody a V for victim? This is the 1984 of you bald-headed party-switching Todd Baxter, where I turned someone into a V for victim just by walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shaw. How do you allow this Shannon Meyer and her $67,000 abomination to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shaw. How is he a victim? Who stated that H.I. says was on his property again today, even though he's been informed that he's not allowed to be there. I wasn't informed by anyone. Walking through the parking lot again today, every day, people walking through that parking lot. I hope you're coming here. Bang on the side of the wall, bang on the front door, bang on the windows. Look at that YouTube, Todd Baxter, that I call hatred. And what are the names of your employees? You know exactly the names of these individuals. I'm going to show you and demonstrate again your absolute and total contempt for the law, you bald-headed criminal. What are their names? You know their names. It's not every day you have these psychopaths at a residence and they're screaming the name of an innocent man, pounding on the residence. Multiple neighbors came over here. These people vote Todd Baxter. They're not doing this to me in isolation. When you tell me how it's a crime to walk outside, stand around here, say nobody owns Atlanta, and go back in my residence, I may consider for 2 seconds to go into Penfield Town Court and declared guilty by Paula Metzler. Paula Metzler is such a joke that you can't even follow the law yourself. I'm going to be sending this to you relentlessly. It's a humiliation device upon you. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Lomenzo, Jr., James McMullen, Jr., and Paula Metzler. I go to the now defunct PW Fitness. I'm at the back of the gym. Up walks to me Jermaine Benman. He goes like that. I say 30 seconds. He leans down. He punches. My head snaps back violently. Ben begins to walk away. I didn't attack him and didn't respond, and I should have. He walks outside to the vehicle, and Andrew Reale arrives. Reale tells me to sit in the backseat of his vehicle. Reale tells Jermaine Benman exactly what to say. Benman walks around to the side of the vehicle and says, I want to press charges against you. And with those 7 words, I'm charged for harassment second. Todd, pay attention. From the time I was on the bench press to when Jermaine Benman, his violent criminal, snapped my head back until I was in the back seat of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle at $79,000 a year, Andrew Reale told me to wait in. Who am I harassing? Because it says harassment second right there in Andrew Reale's handwriting. I was in jail for this. I will never go into Penfield Town Court. I don't care what the consequences of that are. Because to walk in there is delivering myself to jail, and that's insane. And the person I have to appear in front of, Paul C. Metzler, is insane. Doesn't even matter what the facts are. Does not matter at all. So, it's not a crime to walk outside and stand on Sanders Farm Drive. I'm not harassing anyone. And you're concocting crimes for me with Don Bettadeno, as I explained repeatedly, hiding in the bushes, running around the back of my porch, grabs my arm, says a hammer went up, I swung it at him. Now he's trying to send me to jail because I sent Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah an email. Explain how I went to the Department of Justice, Paula Metzler. You're trying to deliver me to jail because of an email. Fuck you, bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzler. So, you're going to have to explain when you run to re-election, Todd Baxter, why you sent Ryan Fisher to Atlanta, Georgia, and why you took a picture of employees underwater in the pool. This is why you're a joke, a disgrace, an abomination. Why is Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia? Did you expend taxpayer dollars to take this photograph? What was the name of the pool? And the answer to this, I believe, is yes, because you're refusing to answer. This definitely had to be yes, because he needs a plane ticket and a hotel room. He needs money to care for his German Shepherd Lola. How do you possibly think that you can survive the primary? You'll definitely lose the general election, but I think that you will lose in the primary. So, comply with everything. This is the official beverage of Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Monroe County District Attorney's Office. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.